Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, Soapstone. How's everybody? So good to see you guys. Wow, this is a crazy week. It's just been a crazy week. Are you guys still having trouble with events, traveling, and
Yes.
ending? Okay, so it's not just me because I'm now that I am a moderator. It's just harder. I am already not a techie person, right?
I
So
am.
now I've got two menus in front of me. I can't go anywhere. I can only get here with the help of other people. I feel helpless. It's awful. Anyways, um, just saying. I hope they fix it. I thought it would fix today. Did we have an update today? Shouldn't it have fixed today? Sort of.
No,
No.
it's Wednesday, I
Was
think.
it yesterday?
Wednesday? Isn't today
No,
Wednesday?
right,
Yes.
yesterday is the
Holiday.
the updates are on Tuesdays.
Yeah, but
Oh.
it's a holiday,
Oh.
maybe.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
it's
Well, maybe it'll
not.
get fixed. Anyway, before we get going, and we're gonna have fun today. But before we get going, I always start out telling you guys a little bit about something in the news because it's just fun. And every time I start reading stuff in the news, I fall down a rabbit hole, and now I'm just reading all kinds of crazy stuff that doesn't even matter, and then I'm gonna forget in 5 minutes. But I did remember this, and you guys have probably seen this on social media because that's where I saw it. You guys ever hear of blue bananas? I did not ever hear of these. Did you guys see these blue bananas?
I'm
Like,
sorry.
I thought it was a joke. I thought this is fake. This is Photoshop.
Those draft
But
cups?
there are blue bananas and they look super cool. And not only that, you guys, they taste like ice cream, vanilla ice cream.
Ooh.
Wow. This is a gift. We need these. I don't know where you get them. I'm going to hunt them down and find them. But I did find a million places to buy the seeds. But if anybody knows where you can get these blue bananas, let me know because that's just a win-win. I love those. So there's that. But it did send me down a rabbit hole of weird-looking fruits. And oh my gosh, Google weird-looking fruits because there's some weird-looking fruits. Like Buddha's hand that looks really creepy. Who'd ever want to eat this thing? It's gross. It looks like a cancer tumor. I don't know who'd want to eat it.
It's a
And
it's
then-
a lemon
and-
with extra rind. So it's for making pies and stuff where you just use the rind. You buy those lemons because it's all skin. It's got very little inside.
Oh, so it's for what do we call it?
It's for,
Zesting.
baking.
Zesting.
Yeah, for zesting.
Okay, zesting. Okay, all right.
Imagine
Okay,
trying to open up
um,
a lemon and all you just get is rind.
It's
It's
just creepy
10
looking.
years of
And-
farmer markets, and you learn all kinds
Okay,
of
so
stuff.
then what are horned melons for? Who needs those? what do we
Why
want
you
those
didn't ram
for?
somebody with it?
Yeah.
Just
What'd you say
crazy
about
stuff.
melons?
We're talking about weird fruits
Oh,
because I found these blue bananas, Nova. Do you have blue bananas in your state? Because I need to find these blue bananas. They
Are they
taste like
bananas
vanilla
or are
ice
they
cream.
rubber?
I told
Sounds like a
what? They're real.
So
They
she's
are
talking
real.
about blue bananas with horned balls.
No, horned melons.
What kind of kinky shit are you
So
talking about,
nuts.
Lolly?
I know it's 18 plus. Okay, let it go. All right. So anyway, I thought it would be fun today if we could talk about the game thing because we got a lot of new games popping up all over the place, right? All kinds of stuff because we all know the name of the game is Kids, and so a lot of new games are popping up, and there's some really fun ones. I myself am not a big enjoyer. I don't really like just going into a game and you have to think and read rules and stuff. I'm just not good with it. But I know I just not me. But there's some really cool games now that you can just walk in and just do, and I love those. One of my favorite new ones personally is Steel City by RJ, the creator. I don't know. I fell into that one, and I found myself hanging out there for an hour. It's crazy. But puzzle rooms are awesome, but I have to bring somebody smart with me for those. So
I
that
love
there's
puzzles.
that.
I'm good at them.
Yeah, no, those are fun, but you got to push somebody ahead of you in the line that understands that you pick the third brick out and shove it down a plant. I mean, what? How did you figure that out? I have no idea. But people will do that. They'll go,
Shove it
"Oh,
in
look
some
over here.
floor.
Look over here behind this wall. There's a number. What's it doing there? And how'd you find it?" Anyway, all that stuff happens. So I wanted to invite people to share their game worlds that they've built, but also, their favorite game worlds. I know there's a lot of cool new ones happening in here that's a lot of fun. So that's what I did. I asked a few people to come share their stuff. So I'm sharing with you that for me, the non-gamer person, RJ's Steel City is like hot on my list right now, but also I still like the plant worlds, and that's where my friend Triad and I hang out a lot. The one that Habitor did called Plants. I don't know what it is about that world, but it's just so zen-like, and that's what's cool about this. You can go in and get excited and take your mind off of things, or you can go into a zen place and take your mind off things, but relax, right? So we got every sort of kind of game there is, and it is fun. I make fun of the thinking worlds where you got to read the rules. There's times when that's just the right thing too, right? Where you just want to kind of forget about everything else and you want to immerse yourself in something interesting and cool. And a lot of these escape rooms are just that ticket. So lots of fun. So let's get into it. Let's start talking to people. Before I even bring up my first guest, does anyone want to just shout out a puzzle or game world that they think is fun, that they really like, that they do in here? Anybody got one that's their favorite?
It's not necessarily in Meta Horizon, but one of the cooler games that I've found on the Meta Store, I say two of them. Mud Runner VR. You drive around, you're driving like these big rigs on an off-road doing missions, and it's really realistic. I love it. And then one of my other favorite ones is called Red Matter 2.
Okay.
Special
Is it a shooting game?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, because if things are coming at you, you're going to want to take them down before they take you down.
Right.
The graphics on the Quest 3, insane. When I first loaded it up, I'm like, there's no way this is what I'm looking at. It sure was.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, good. Thank you for sharing those with us.
Yeah.
I went into an Out of Horizon Worlds game called Power Washer. You guys are all telling me about. I gotta play Power Washer. It's so awesome, so great. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I like to wash down my patio. I like to water my plants. This sounds like fun, right? So I go in there.
120 psi.
Okay. So I go in there and I wash
that.
everything. What? What'd you say, Jim?
I said in one of my courses in college last year, we actually had to create that. It's a runtime vertex editing that we scripted in like C++. But there was a bunch of us that built that game as part of the college course. Yeah. It's really quite fascinating because it uses the collision to actually redefine the mesh in runtime. So like a mesh would be your vertexes, your planes, your UVs. And what we're doing is we're reading the collision, creating an area around that collision, and then telling each, actually adjusting the vertexes and feeding the triangle information back into the renderer. Literally underneath.
I understood absolutely none of that, but I will tell you that it sounds fascinating. It sounds fascinating. But here's my perspective on it. I want to know why those people have a great flower bed, a beautiful lawn, sparkly clean windows, but their backyard looks like it was in a fire. Now, that does not make any sense to me. How did they let their doghouse go? And they don't even have a dog. So why is their doghouse like this? I thought, okay, the doghouse maybe, but their patio and their walls, oh my God, but they're watering their lawn and cutting it. What?
You want to know why everything in that town is covered in like soot, mud, and grime?
Why?
Because if you've played it and you've paid attention to not just what you're doing, but the background, as you progress, you'll see messages about a volcano.
So reading.
And as you play it, you'll notice the volcano starts glowing and glowing and pouring out smoke.
Why didn't it kill the flowers?
It's going
there. I always do this to my husband. We'll be
right
watching
now,
movies.
Just spreading ash.
Okay, got it.
Off.
I always do this with my husband.
Doing?
We'll watch a movie and I'll go.
Off the ash.
You're cleaning off the ash. Yeah, and that kind of works. But I always do this to my husband. I'll watch a movie and I'll go like, that makes no sense. And my husband goes, it's can you just let it be? It's entertaining, right? I'm like, yeah, but I can't. Bearded dragons do not exist there. This makes no sense. A Colombian boa would not be on that island. I'm like that. So I have my problems with that. Like, unlike this place that's so realistic. I'm told. Anyway, moving on.
Where's the cat?
Right, wait, where's the cat? Why don't I bring up somebody more interesting? How about Jim? Why don't you come on and head up here on the stage? Because Jim is one of my friends here.
Shit from up here?
No, yell it from down here. Yell it from down here.
Right.
So Jim is, for those of you who don't know Jim, he is a scripter and builder here in Horizon Worlds. One of my friends. has his fingers all over this place, and I mean all over everywhere, and fingerprints. That didn't sound good. Fingerprint. Anyway,
wait, now I have 2 coffees.
now you have to. Well, we had to glue these down because my ex-co-host spilled it all the time, so those won't work anyway. And the coffee has a lot of flies in it. But anyway, so I know you've been really instrumental in building a lot of games, right? I know you have. So
I've got my name on about 830 worlds in here, somewhere around there. I get a couple. Yeah, no, I tell you what, my experience in Horizon Worlds and the beauty of creating in here and developing games in here. Yeah, and I've used other game development software, and I think of Horizon as just another, it's like Godot or Unity or any of those others, and it's different because it's designed to create from within, which is why for you nerds out there, that's the difference between your Z and your Y, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice if you're building Unity, right? What is forward? Well, it's looking down. Because you're not in it, you're observing it, right?
It's flat screen.
It's flat screen. So when
lolly flat, versus virtual.
So your Z-axis becomes your Y-axis because you're not part of your creation. And I, like I said, this is just for the nerds out there, but I really appreciate the fact that when I see, when you're in here, your Z then becomes your forward because you're part of your own creation, and I think there's a beauty to that, and I love creating in here more than any other game development system, mainly because you have instant play testers anywhere you go. Well, I do. I got 1,000 kids that follow me everywhere, so it's a lot of fun, and that's like from back in the Born days, the some of the kids games that we made. I've got 45,000 visitors at the carnival, so a lot of those people follow me, and so if I just sit around in a world, kids show up, which is great as a game developer because I can just make a thing, publish it, and sit there for a little while and watch people see if they can interact with it.
If you had to give a game creator 3 things that you would say absolutely has to happen to get kids interested in a game, like what things have to be present there, what would you say those are?
Number 1, you watch them, you observe, and you ask them questions, and you listen to what they have to say. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that I don't know what the fun thing is about my own games. You can't force somebody to play a game the way you want them to play it. So what you do is you make a playground, and then you watch the kids, and you see, well, what's fun about this. And I've got a story. I've got an anecdote about this exact thing that happened. And I want to call out my good friends Dan Tanzer, Tanzer VR, John Burn Buns, Hyperjewel, and my mentors from way back. Of course, I can't forget JP Cloud as well. And I'm talking about the Born team, and where I learned most of what I learned about Horizon was while I was working with them. And when we built the carnival, there was a game where you throw pies, and Hyperjewel had scripted this cute thing where you throw a pie through a hole, and your friend could stand behind the hole, and you could throw the pie in their face and stuff, right? And it was just a fun little mini game, and that was the whole concept of the carnival, was let's see how many of these big, like, little fun carnival games we can stick in one world. And the first day of playtesting, the first time people walked in there, what did they do? The kids were running around throwing pies at each other and getting in front of everyone that was playing games and throwing pies in their face and ruining everyone's experience. And our first reaction was, these damn kids don't know how to play this game correctly. And we were absolutely wrong. The problem is the kids were showing us how to play it correctly. We just needed to adapt to where the fun was. And so rather than discourage the throwing of pies outside of throwing them, we could have easily gone back and said, look, if you throw the pie anywhere but at this board, then the pie just disappears and blah, blah, blah. And guess what happened? That's not fun. The kids
That's right.
absolutely hated it because
Well, that's
they
not
remember
fun.
it
It's
wasn't
not
fun.
fun.
So
Yeah.
what we did instead is we made small zones around the other games where the pies wouldn't work. So if somebody was at the shooting range with the ducks, they if you walked up and threw a pie at them, it would say no, that person is playing a game, and the pie would simply disappear, would have no effect, and the kid would say, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to do that again, and he'd go somewhere else.
Right.
You can't get in front of somebody that's playing another game. So rather than restrict the pie throwing, we just isolated the other games in their own little boxes.
That makes sense. Do you know what
and
I thought was the
it
best part
became
of that
much
whole
more popular,
carnival?
yeah.
Do you know what the most fun was?
What?
To get, you probably know because I would do it every time I go in there. You know, the
Pop
bumper
the giant
cars?
bubble?
No, the bumper cars. You get way back, smack against the wall, and fly out of the bumper cars, and then
Okay,
fly
so that's the
all over.
midway. That's the midway.
Okay, that to me was the most fun of any one of those carnival games because you
Well,
could
and,
never do that in real
and
life.
the bumper cars, okay, there's another great example right there is
Yeah.
those bumper cars. There was, and we had to throw that world together. Like at the end, it was hectic. Our schedule on that was crazy. For the amount of stuff we had going on in there, and the bumper cars kept breaking. We kept having issues with ownership of the walls where the collision was. It was crazy, and there were a lot of bugs at that moment too that also had to do with that. And what we found out is during testing is there was a place where if you hit that doorway just right, you could clip right through the wall because you're moving fast enough that collision wouldn't occur until you were already inside the object, and then the object doesn't exist. So what happened is we've realized people could ride in the bumper cars and escape the thing. And now Dan came to me and said, well, we can make a double barrier and try this and try that and do all this stuff. And I said, or we can make it in a secret achievement. It's not a bug, it's a feature. And that's exactly what we did. And so there's an achievement at the midway if you can get the bumper car out of the actual bumper car arena. And if you do, you can fly it all around the midway. You can go up and you can
and that was so fun.
And I was like, that seems like the fun part. Yeah.
It was the fun part. Okay, so number one, you said if you're going to build something, listen to what the kids want and then adapt your world. And I think that's the very good advice.
You
listen
have to be
your
open.
community. Yeah. So give me something else, even before you build the world. Like if you're going, okay, I'm going to build a kids game. I know this ingredient has to exist. What would one of those ingredients be?
Well, I mean, there was talk about reading and directions and stuff, and it's a topic that's come up again and again about, if you walk into a world and you've got a wall of things you have to read before fun can happen. I think that's the wrong approach. I think that's the wrong approach. And I think there are ways to make things intuitive, and it does take a lot more work. It takes a lot more play testing. But if you find that someone has to read more than a sentence or two, then you need to redesign what you're doing. You need to rethink what you're doing. If you have a game that requires 5 or 6 people to show up before it can be fun, you should rethink what you're doing. And a good example of that, and I'm working with my good friend Ryan over at Regal, Meta Big Chief. I'm sorry, I should call him. This guy's a genius. He's brilliant, and he comes up with some great ideas. And we worked together, the two of us, and created the baseball, the Regal baseball simulator. And the reason it's a simulator is because the idea behind this, again, was you shouldn't have to build an entire baseball team to be able to play the game. And the funny thing is the original game was, what would be fun is running around in the outfield trying to catch fly balls. And so we would go in there, and he had brought in the gloves and stuff in this big arena. And I was like, oh, man, this is amazing. And I said, I want to be able to just run around and catch fly balls. And so I wrote a script that just made fly balls. But to me, it has to make sense. And it didn't make sense that the ball was just, getting hit and there was no one to hit it. So he had brought in a little model, and so I created a little script and said, okay, when the ball enters this trigger, the guy's going to swing and the ball's going to pop up in the air. Great. So now I have an automatic hitter. So I would stand on the pitcher's mound and throw the ball. And the first thing I noticed is it's really hard to throw the ball from the mound to the thing. So I wrote a script to amplify the ball based on where you're throwing. It would say, well, are you throwing to a dude? Are you throwing to the pitcher mound? Where are you trying to throw it? And then we'll just amplify that throw in that direction. So it feels like you're throwing it because it's using your vector, but I'm amplifying it in a way that makes you a good pitcher.
There you go. Yeah.
Once I had
and
written
that
script,
does work for
then it had
some.
to
I mean,
fly out to then it could fly out, but then I realized I couldn't run out to the outfield fast enough to catch the ball. So then I had to write the script of the automatic pitcher. So I was like, okay, now it's perfect. Now we can actually play the game that we wanted to play from the original get-go. And then we brought the kids in, and of course, everyone wants to bat. So I made it so the batter disappears and you can bat. The pitcher disappears and you can pitch. You can do any of the things, but if you don't do any of them, the game plays itself. If you're by yourself in that world, you can just watch. The pitcher will pitch and the batter will bat, and it looks like everyone's playing baseball except there's
which
no
is cool.
runners,
That's what I like. Yeah. I like it when they have two levels, like because some people want the challenge of it being really hard. And honestly, I'm fickle. Some days I do want challenges. Some days I just want it to be easy and I want to win. I want to do something. I just want it to make a difference and have a good time. I joke about all the instructions, but the reality is in my real life work, I was a systems analyst and all I ever did was read. So when I come into something like this, I want to relax. I want to have a good time. Even at family games, my family knows now, don't bring me Dungeons and Dragons. Out of here. Bring me, the one where you hit the thing with a timer and you got to guess the hot potato. That's my idea of fun now. It's like, yeah, I need to relax and chill. So there's games for everybody for sure. But I do think with kids in particular, you might be right, because one of the things, in the Soapstone, we have so many kids in here, and I always ask them, why this, no offense, Soapstone builders, but why the Soapstone? I mean, I understand why the adults are here. It does not make sense to me that kids just want to hang out in here. Now, there is the kid who wants to entertain, right? He's that kid that's a Broadway guy. That kid I get. Singer, all that, or comedian, musicians, but there's just kids out here. And I'm like, there's a million games out there. Why do you want to be here? Do you know what the answer is? People. There's people here.
They want to be around people.
And particularly adults. They want to feel the safety net of the adults, and they want to be where the people are. And so I think, when you're talking about it, when a game is for multiple players and they're by themselves, they can't find somebody to play with. That's a problem for them.
Well, I think, and it doesn't apply to all games, obviously.
Right.
You're not going to be able to play Metafeud by yourself. And that's not a knock against Metafeud. It's just the type of game it is.
Right.
And I wrote the Jeopardy world, and
which is so cool. There's a Soapstone Jeopardy category. There's a Soapstone Jeopardy category.
There's a Soapstone Jeopardy category, and
I love that.
And I wrote that for the community to be able to put in their own categories, their own questions. I wanted it to be able to grow. So the scripting there was, I wrote it to be so it could be updated without needing a scripter. So the categories can be added by anyone. You can get a hold of Thrive, and I wrote a script that you just put it on the category and it becomes a new category.
Nice.
It goes into the game, and it doesn't need additional scripting at that point. And the Metafeud, or not Metafeud, I'm sorry, the $1,000 Pyramid is the same script.
So we have a lot of the game shows done in here, and that I have to say that Jeopardy, the ones that you just mentioned, are done so well, so easy to operate. So, you know what I mean? There's very few glitches. It's very impressive. And I really, really like those. And that is fun to go in there with a group of your friends. And some of us are in the audience chilling, watching the other people down there. That is great.
As a developer, you have to, and in Horizon specifically, because Horizon is a place where you wander through games like a shopping mall.
Right.
And you want to consider the fact that you're going to have people that just want to watch and just let them, have a way to just spectate, because it can be intimidating to walk into a world like that. And that's why Jeopardy, you spawn in to a room where you can see who's on stage. You can see what's happening. You can see all the scores right when you spawn in before you see another person. There's even a window there where you can kind of see the board. It makes you want to go out into the crowd, but it gives you the option to just hang out and spectate if that's what you want to do. You don't have to have, 3 people on stage to be able to play. You don't have to, or at the midway, you don't, all those games run by themselves to make you feel like you're not alone. I have crowd noises everywhere.
Yeah, I love crowd noises because when you do go into a world by yourself, it's nice to hear.
And actually, if you go to Regal Baseball, that's the thing I'm most proud of there. As I've mixed like 5 different crowd noises all simultaneously. I found out really quick, by the way. Try this, builders, try this. If you take the crowd cheering and pitch it down, it becomes crowd booing. And so I'm
that's
playing
when
with
they're
the
depressed
pitches and the volumes, and so there's a constant wave of crowd sounds happening. And then every time something happens on the field, someone hits a ball, someone catches a ball, someone does anything, the crowd will react. And then of course I've got the organ music mixed in there as well, which happens just sporadically, and it also, like, if you hit a homer, it'll pop in right away.
Beautiful. That's great. Yeah. But back to your comment about spectators, you're right. In those situations, like a stadium or like a game show audience, that makes sense. But I also see that so many people in here do add spectator spots up above mazes and up above games, which are perfect, because if you're with your friends and you want to hang out with your friends, it's fun to be 3 of the people up here watching your other 4 friends making fun of them, of course. Like, look at that guy. Ha! He's getting killed. And it's really fun to do that. It makes it like you're still involved with your friends, even though you maybe didn't want to play that game. So I think the
most fun, and one of the things about this, again, specific to Horizon, is everyone wants to role play. And so if you consider that element in whatever game you're making, as far as if someone just wants to come in here and I used to love coming into the Soapstone. There was one kid that would stand out front and welcome people and say this was his place. I actually went home, and people that if you're not familiar with my stuff, 6048 Moonlight Drive is my home. It's where I work. It's where I do everything. It was one of my first builds. When I build things, I usually go there because that's where I'm comfortable. So when I refer to home, I'm talking about my VR home here. And there was a little girl that was in one of the bedrooms. And she said, "Hey, what are you doing in my house?" And I was like, "Sorry, and she lives there. And sometimes I find her there, and there. I thought it was really cute that a bunch of kids moved into my house and
that
just took over one of the bedrooms. And I was like, well, that's actually my son's bedroom. So it was really super cute.
That is cute.
And I have it all mapped out. So like when I'm walking around my real house, I'm in my virtual house.
Which is so cool. I remember that's where I first met you, was over there. And I thought that was the coolest thing. You'd be like, I'm in this exact location in my house. It's so cool. Hey, does anybody have a question for Jim while he's up here? I mean, if you do, just let us know, because I just want you guys to be able to interact. I know if I have to hold my questions to the end, I forget what I'm going to ask. But somebody asking something over here? No? Okay. So now spectator spots are good. Listening to them is a good idea. Making sure that we can do different things in the game. Creating different sounds in different places, I think, is really important. Because, sometimes I walk in a world and it's so loud and it's like, yeah, I'm in this mood, right? I love it. But within 5 minutes, I'm like, yeah, I'm not loving it, but I don't want to leave because my friends are there. So it's cool to be able to get away from the sound. So you're right.
People get
sounds
too excited with assuming everyone's going to like their music and making it really loud. I mean, obviously, if you've got a club, that's what you're doing, and people expect that. But I mean, when you go into a game world and they've just got background music that's just way too much, I think it becomes overwhelming for a lot of us, especially those neurospicy amongst us. But we do have a lot of audio controls as well in the headset, so I think there's a balance there. But
if you turn down your well, you're right. your world
Yeah.
volume and stuff. But as soon as you start messing with voices, now you can't hear your friends. So you have to be careful.
Yeah,
But
it's a
yeah,
balance. Yeah. But I
yeah,
mean,
it
even
is.
here, I was just is Matt still here?
Yeah, he's here. He's here.
I was just out by the fire, and I remember saying to myself, it's like, well, when I'm standing right here in front of the fire, it should be louder than the ocean. And I was going to come back and let the team know, because I was like, it's there are these subtle things. If your world is too quiet, it's also a problem too. So
Right. Yeah.
having those environmental sounds kind of sprinkled around, and learning
It
how
brings
to
life.
use
Brings
those
life.
settings where you can control how far away it starts to attenuate at what are your volume levels, and so you can make sounds that are very localized, and it really brings life to your world. And think about it, like if you've got a roaring waterfall and you can't hear it when you're 5 meters away at all, that's a
Yeah,
problem.
that hurts with the realism. Something else that's totally not about games, but it makes me think of it. One of the things I don't care for, and I know a lot of people do, I don't care for VIPs, because in my opinion, when people walk in, everybody's up in the VIP. It's called "You're not important," right?
Yeah.
I just think that's the message you're sending. Like, we don't care about you, right?
It is a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
It's a
but
double-edged sword.
But I saw something in Black Magic that I thought was pretty cool. They made a VIP section that's attached to another section up in a balcony. So those of us that aren't VIPs could go over here and have the same view and everything. And the VIPs are over here. The only advantage it gave them is they have their own space where people can't enter. Right.
Sure.
It's like their own whisper space. So they don't have anything special that I don't have. It's just, and so what do I care? They're a group of friends and they're over there talking. I can, right. But I think that's kind of cool. If you want to charge people for VIP or make it a credit worthy thing or something,
Sure.
But it's not where they're away that you can't see them and you can't get their attention.
Well,
I think that's
there are a lot of benefits to creating VIP areas for your regulars and things like that. That especially if you have the type of world where you're inviting in the public, and you want to be able to give them something special. But then you can also destroy a community with a VIP area too. And a case in point, and it is not a negative, but one of the best venues here, one of the most thriving communities we had in Horizon 2 years ago, pretty much doesn't exist anymore because of a VIP area.
Yeah.
Stearns, you want to guess which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, we all probably know, but the thing
we all
is,
probably know.
Yeah,
but
the thing
again,
is, yeah.
if you seclude a group and make it so when people just wander into your world, they suddenly feel like they're completely cut off and an outsider.
Right.
You're not going to want to hang out there. So,
exactly.
VIP things are fun if you give someone like a superpower, a special hat, or a Superman cape, and let them fly around or something.
Or at least give everybody an equal opportunity to be a VIP. I would almost rather the VIP sections should cost. That way, anybody who wants to pay that can do it. And that's, that's kind of the idea here at the Soapstone with our supporters, right? We have an area, and I wouldn't call it VIP. It's just where supporters can isolate themselves, right? So they have access to this little balcony up here. They have the boat out there, but it's not exclusive. It's like you could be in that same group with all of us. You just become a supporter. So I think those are the way to go, personally.
Yeah, and I've seen like clubs that do like a VIP booth or something like that, similar to kind of like this,
right?
Or like if you were at a baseball game and there was a celebrity up in a booth with his friends and stuff, like that's a normal kind of expectation. And as long as like you're not like half of everyone is in the VIP section, and you don't mingle, you don't go out and talk to your people, then you're not going to have people, is what's going to happen.
Well, let's open it up to anybody who wants to interact here. Anybody got who we come on, Morgan, come on up, hop up on the stage. Go ahead.
For me, something that I was testing out is like making a VIP that wasn't really a VIP, where it's a spot where somebody can just go up to this area just so they can make themselves feel special. And it was actually great, and we are figuring out a way where we can implement it into everything that
That's cool. So everybody has an opportunity to do that.
Oh yes, it's quite open. I've marked it as VIP so I can make them all feel
That's
that
nice.
they
That's
are
cool.
very important, you know.
Yeah.
And
That's
Well,
good.
and secrets are fun. As a builder, I love putting little Easter eggs in and just not telling people and let them discover on their own that they can. Here's a fun one, and this is just for the people in the room. And maybe you already know this, maybe you don't, but we didn't really tell anyone. If you go to Born with Power. And you walk up to there's a sign right there that talks about how to collect the shards, and there's a little trophy, like when you have the leaderboards, there's a little
Yeah.
trophy image.
Yeah.
Walk up to it and touch it, and it'll put you on the spaceship, and you can control the big laser and just shoot everyone.
Awesome. That's cool.
another
That's cool.
thing that we got, and it's actually a little game that we have, is that there's a thing that says step only, and when you got something that says don't touch, this is for a step only.
Yeah.
Naturally,
They-
they're
they
gonna
do
walk
it.
in, they do it, and they will see a thing that says we said step only. Haha, just kidding.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah. So was that your magic trick? Did you? show
That's what we call an AFK slip.
Okay. All right.
Don't
All
do
right.
it.
Well, thank you, Morgan.
Yeah.
That was a great point. Appreciate you very much. Come on up, EchoPhase.
I just wanted to go back to what y'all were talking about earlier when you were asking about games that were interesting and new, and someone had mentioned off platform or on the Oculus. There's a couple of them that I found interesting, especially for adults, which is I imagine a hard crowd to get involved in gaming, other than shooting each other.
You'd be surprised.
It's called Mannequin, and I just fell in love with this
Mannequin?
game. It's
Okay.
hide and seek for adults, and it's
Is it where you get to black
creepy.
box? Oh,
Yes,
never mind. Go ahead.
and it
All
is
right.
creepy because of the graphics are just amazing. But yeah,
Mannequin.
I fell in love with that game, and then I Am Cat, of course, fun game.
Fun game.
That's
Hey.
just came out, didn't it? Like
Yeah,
a week
yeah,
or two
just
ago.
came
Yeah,
out,
my
yeah.
That
kid
sounds
has been
good.
telling me
Oh
I
my
need to
God.
get this so he
It's
can
cute.
play it.
It's cute. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And it's
Hey,
for both.
before you go though, I want to talk about what you got going on. So EchoPhase
Oh.
came up with this new game. Tell them about your new game. that
Yeah,
you came
it's
up with.
just it's a spin-off of Family Feud. It's just it's called Survey Says, and it's like I'm taking the trivia and then the Family Feud and putting it together, just kind of to reinvent the wheel and keep things interesting, and throw in some witty and cheeky humor, and you're just good to go. So yeah,
which is
that's what it
awesome,
is.
and you're got
Yeah.
that into testing mode right now on
Oh, yeah.
Saturdays
Yep.
at is it 3?
Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
And our
so
first
you
test
guys
was
should come check it
awesome.
out.
So yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, make sure you post your play test on the Discord, and
Yeah, will
and
do.
We'll bring a bunch of people over.
Yeah,
Let's
definitely.
do
And
it.
I'll throw it on the Facebook as well. The groups.
And we're gonna
So-
do it this Saturday, right? This Saturday
Yeah,
at
this
3?
Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
So,
fun.
yeah.
Exciting.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Echo. Claire,
Thank
were
you.
you waiting to talk, or are you just moderating officially over there? You being a bouncer over there? No. Okay, come on.
Yeah. There isn't a game I'm trying to get into to play with, but if you want, it's on Meta, but it's not Horizon. But there is a Horizon game I want to also probably recommend. The Horizon Rob game I would recommend. I would try. You're not going to try it. There's a Jurassic Park one or Jurassic Island. I've
Yeah,
seen
Jurassic Park
some
is
people
good.
play
Yeah,
it. I've not seen it yet, but
yeah.
I saw two of my friends list play it, and I thought.
This
when
is
I
where
get
we
the
run
time,
away
I'll
from
try
the
it out.
dinosaurs, right? Yeah, see, I love
I have
that
no
game.
idea. Well, yeah, I would love to try that. There is
Yeah.
another game. I would say it's definitely for adults, no kids. Like we've got no kids in here. If you're into like horror games for the adults who like a bit scary, Five Nights at Freddy's. You know,
Right,
where there's
yeah.
electronics.
Five Nights at
I've
Freddy's.
heard of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, as a
would
father
say
of 3,
try
I
that,
find it
especially for
hilarious
Halloween.
that you want it, that you say that F and AF is for adults.
Definitely get some
but-
scary games for Halloween. I've only got 1 month. Especially if you've got Halloween next month, as we're now in September.
Yes.
You'll need some Halloween games, scary
We do.
games.
Oh, and I am
Definitely.
quite confident. Thank you, Claire. I am quite confident we are going to see some Halloween stuff coming. I am so excited. I mean, they've had a whole year to play with Trimesh. You can, what do we call Trimesh? I know we're not supposed to call it Trimesh.
CMI.
Okay,
custom mesh import.
Custom mesh. A whole year that they've been playing with this, so I'll bet you anything you're going to see a whole bunch of cool Halloween things coming out soon. I'm excited for that. Yeah.
I just animated a giant ear of corn in the center of a corn maze for somebody, so I know there's a really cool maze game coming out.
Well, thank you, Jim. Always, I love having you here. You know I always do. Thank you, and check out some of these games that you know Jim is a part of. He's awesome. I also asked AceTheBass to be here. You guys all know Ace. Ace, come on, head up here. Ace is our everything guy. He's one of our leads. He builds, he scripts, I don't know what don't you do, Ace. You do everything here, but you've recently been working on a new game, so I wanted you to talk about that.
Sure, yeah. We took a lot of the rules that Jim just kind of thrown out there and tossed them out the window. Because our game, you do have to read, and you do have a minimum amount of players.
Yeah, but as we said though, there's all types.
It's a different level of game, so it's not something that you can just go in and just casually just shoot a bunch of people or play. Like it's a thinker. It's a social deduction game, so you got to go in and try to figure out who's who and eliminate the right person. So it's a little bit more complicated. It is geared more towards adults who might like board games, that style, that community. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one, first of all, the room is amazing. I mean, it's just a visual wonderland in there. I spent a whole bunch of time just walking around looking at the room, and I'm teasingly throw shade at games that read. There are people in here that are totally bored if they go to a game that's just running around. To them, that's a nothing. They're not even interested. So, evidenced by all the puzzle rooms we have going on in here, obviously people love that, deep dive into a game. So, and I do too. I kid, but there's times when those are just perfect. So yeah, that game sort of reminds me just a little bit of Clue. It kind of reminds me of that type of game where you're trying to guess who people are. You've got, reasons to know who they are, ways to find out who they are. That is very fun. And so give them a little bit more, like give them an example of what happens in there.
So like, as you said, the place itself looks really nice. And you guys talked a little bit about environment, and I love messing with the environment and just the flames and the candles and how they move and the light that they produce and everything. Like I love the environment in there. But
did we even say the name of it? The name?
It's called Midnight Match, and it's based on games that are similar, or like One Night Werewolf, or I think there's another one called Mafia that's kind of similar. But you go in and everybody gathers around a table, and everybody's given a role. And you have a book on your hip that explains each of the roles, so you know what you can do, you know what everybody else in the room might be able to do, but you don't know anybody else's role other than your own. And the whole point is to ask questions. Everybody has a special ability based on their role. Use those abilities and try to figure out who other players might be. And then hopefully, if you're a patron, you can figure out who the vampire is and eliminate that person as a group to win the game.
No.
So you guys have questions about his game? You can ask questions about that if you want to. You want to start there? Everybody's so shy today. What's wrong with you guys? What's happening? Did you drink too much on Labor Day? What's up? What's happening? Okay. Come on.
I don't have any questions. I do have a comment. It's a very fun game to play. If y'all haven't played it, definitely go check it out. I've gone in there. I went in there when they were playtesting, and then I also went in there with my friends like 2 or 3 times now, and it's always a really good time. So I just wanted to add that. Really fun game.
Appreciate that. And we definitely wanted to make sure this was a game that was going to be VR and mobile friendly. So if you're just sitting at home on your couch and you don't feel like putting the headset on, you can pick up your phone and you can go in there and meet up with your friends and play it on your phone as well.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. That's good. I didn't realize you could play it on mobile. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so like the book, instead of like having the book held in front of you, it pops up a user interface on your screen that you can scroll through the book and utilize the Assassin's Contract and all those kind of things.
Now, how long has it been published? It's pretty new, isn't it?
So we went with our like finalized publish basically a week ago today. Really, I think it was last Wednesday.
Yeah, it's I was lucky. I got to play test it. It was pretty fun, and I know I've heard from other people what a great time it is. So, kudos, you guys, you nailed
I
it.
think
That's
NANUKE's
awesome.
up there towards the top of the leaderboard in there.
Yeah,
He's
NANUKE's enjoying it.
played a lot.
Yeah, that's good. Well, congrats. And is that been your focus right now? I know you're still doing a lot of stuff here at home at the Soapstone, but
Soapstone is a constant. It's always a midnight match. We did wrap that. Like I said, last week was kind of our wrap on it. Obviously, there'll be things that we may have to go and fix or update, but as of what we're doing now, we're kind of moving on to the next thing. So just to kind of give a little bit of a preview there, another one of Matthias's bigger games is City Drift Racing.
yes, that one's really fun. I love that one too. That's a good one.
That one is definitely a go in and you don't have to think. You just
That's
drive around,
right.
do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of build on that, and we're going to make a new world that has a lot of the same mechanics, but then also we'll have a little bit more stuff to do beyond just driving. So that's what we're doing next.
You guys all played that? You guys have all played the City Drift? That is so fun, right? Even when there's kids in there, that's when you can handle with the kids because you're, running and having a good time. It's exciting. What'd you say, Echo?
You can run them over.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they can run you over. And they do.
And if you like being able to run them over, just this next one that's coming, you'll really like that one. So.
That's super cool. Who else has got something to tell us about Game-Wise? Come up with us and tell us. Jump on the stage. No, come on. You must have a game you want to promote. I mean, not that we want you to stop giving us applause points. Please continue. It's like don't feel like you have.
He's been putting out a lot of stuff here recently.
Yes, he has. And before he even starts to talk, let's all give him a nice big congratulations because NANUKE was just added to our Soapstone lead team as the lead moderator. So any problems, concerns, complaints you have, there's your... No, I'm just kidding. I'm just...
Cat's out of the bag, NANUKE.
Nah.
I know. I was like, wait, no.
Yes.
Too late.
Yes. So, yeah. So anyways,
Hi.
congratulations. Okay.
Thank you. It's fantastic. I appreciate it a lot. I mostly work on art piece worlds, but I do have a couple of game worlds too. I've got my arcade, which has a bunch of like random little asset games in it. And that's more the kids' version, something that they can hang out in if they chose to. But then I also have my living room, which is actually just you walk into the bedroom, you hit a little door. If you're an adult, you get sent up to the adult version of the arcade. It's got some leaderboards. It's got a bunch of stuff. We used to hang out in there pretty often. But that's fun too. And then I've got something called Shooter Race that me and he still have to finish developing, but it's basically a PvP parkour where you both walk through the starting platform and you each get assigned a little gun. And then a bunch of parts of the parkour on either side are interactable. So you can actually use your gun to shoot the floor out of the person opposing you.
And make them fall?
And make them fall through. And it's sectioned off. So, you get to each checkpoint. And if you fall through, you start at the last checkpoint you finished. But it's very high paced. So it's hard to like focus on what you're doing and also make somebody else fall off at the same time. But it's a lot of fun. We got some bugs to fix in there, but it works pretty good right now. And then, of course, I have the infamous "The Floor is Lava." That world has been published a very long time, and not a single person has been able to pass hard mode.
Is that crazy? That's crazy. Yeah.
It's so hard.
Actually, him and I did another one that's a non-thinkers that wiped out. Where if you'd like to just go and run through an obstacle course, that's that one. Us and he's all did different sections of it. So
There's something
Yeah.
about running from like monsters that's so exciting. I don't know why. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But I love it.
Oh,
That's why I like Halloween, where you're running through mazes and stuff and things are coming at you. I think it's because you're living in the moment, right? Like a lot of these games, you have to really be focused on what you're doing. So your mind can't wander to bigger problems or real problems. So it's really fun when you can be running from something that's chasing you, at least in my
well,
opinion.
do I have a surprise for you? I can't.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
not going to talk about it too much, but I'm working on one. The monster, I guess, creature in this world is mostly done, and it's pretty terrifying. So that'll be fun.
Is this
And it's
coming out
gonna,
for your Halloween stuff?
yeah, it should be out about that time. It's it's different from all those other ones where like you know collect A, B, X, Y thing from a world and try to avoid this. You're gonna have like tasks that you need to complete more than just grab that thing and then move on to grab the next thing. And it's also not like hallways or something. It's a little bit more of an open plan for the world with
Yeah.
things that you can move around and hide in and
It's fun.
certain places that the monster can't see you in. But I've been working on it for a little while. It'll be fun.
Well, good. We look forward to seeing it. That looks great. Okay. Anybody got anything they want to add at this point? Any questions, comments, additions, your own stuff that you're working on or know somebody else is working on?
Hey,
I heard somebody say something.
over here. Yeah.
Come on, Dollar Beezy. You got some you're working on? Come tell us.
Let's see.
Come tell
Just
us.
jump off here.
All right. Thank you, Ace, so much for sharing. Appreciate you. Hey, Dollar. What's up, buddy? So tell us about it.
I have freeze tag, which is a game that I brought back.
I love freeze tag.
Try to
That's
put a couple
awesome.
different small
Freeze
spins
tag
on
battle,
it.
right?
Yeah, where it's kind of a little bit of a story behind it. There's a little screen that you can view it if people care to stop. Jim's been a lot of help on that. Greatly appreciate it. You know, getting things smoother. There's power ups where you can get speed boosts.
So tell us about it. What's the environment look like? What happens in the game?
Well, there's a frozen arena, which there's this mythical story that I created where the fire and the ice are basically competing to take over the realm. So there's grenades where the freezing team get blown back, and I mean it's just basically freeze tag. I just try to put a different spin on it. Also I have Fall Bros, which is basically like Fall Guys. It's obstacle course based. 30 people can get in, go through the obstacles, try to battle it out for the fastest time.
Oh, how fun!
And then soon I'll be releasing probably within the next day or so Rocket Ball, which is basically my own inspired version of Shoot Ball, which is Meta's game. But in Meta's game, you can only play with 2 people. I wanted to play with 3.
Now, see, not all of us even know what that is. So describe it. What does that mean?
Well, it's basically soccer with rocket launchers and lasers.
So fun.
The balls are oversized. It's a lot of action going on, balls coming in from different areas. And it's almost like a game of angles because it's not just soccer where it's one dimensional where you're working on one plane. You're using the roof to kind of angle shots and the sidewalls. And then there's a team aspect because your rocket launcher only shoots within certain intervals. So you got to balance your rocket launcher with your laser to get it precise. Like one's precision, one's power. So you're balancing that, working together with your teammates, and you're trying to stop people from getting goals on you at the same time you're trying to score. So I really love the game, and I was inspired to make that game off of the shoot ball game.
That's cool.
I try to put a little twist in it of my own too. So.
Yeah, well, games are definitely king around here. I mean, people are really enjoying them from the youngest kids all the way up to Jim's age. Everybody's having a good time.
Our age.
Thank you for sharing that. We really appreciate it. Anybody else have anything else they want to shout out? Any shows or anything, games or anything? A couple of things I wanted to talk about real quick. we got these contests going on here in the Soapstone, and I talk about them all the time because it's such a cool thing that we have happening here. So, money is starting to finally be available to us here in the metaverse. So many of you guys work so hard doing so many things for years now, and we know, the issues with some get and some don't. But here's the good news: money is being made and is being shared, and now those who entertain are starting to actually benefit as well. So here at the Soapstone, we have this $1,000 audition for comedy and vocals where you can win a gig where you're paid $1,000. That's not nothing, so we have that going on. So if you're either a comedian on Mondays or a singer on Fridays or a musician, consider that. It's a rolling thing. It goes on until we pick a person who gets that job, the $1,000 gig, and then it starts over again. So, consider it. If you got a friend who sings or somebody's a aspiring comedian, let them know about that and let them get involved. And the best way to know what goes on here at the Soapstone is to join our Discord if you're not already in it. We love our community. We love everybody who gives us 5 minutes of time or just comes and hangs out or jumps in and wants to run the place. There's a place for everybody here. So consider it. We added an ambassador program that we're extremely proud of. 3 times I have summoned an ambassador, which has been the most magical power ever. It's like, I'm sorry, you don't speak English? What language do you speak? Give me a second. Bing, 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 bing. Boom, there's the ambassador. That has happened 3 times, and I am so proud that we have this kind of response in this place. It's amazing. So I love Horizon Worlds. I think everybody knows that I do, and I'm probably a little bit on the rosy colored glasses aspect of things because I am not a builder or a scripter, and so those frustrations are not mine. But take it from me, looking from the outside in, you're all doing amazing no matter what your struggles are in build mode or scripting. To us, you all look amazing. It's like we look at your worlds, we're not noticing where there's a rip or that the brick's out of place. I know that's Jim's job. And thank goodness we have people like you and people that check every glitch, and that's all great. But for us in the community, whether it's primitive or whether it's a mesh world, we find beauty and wonder in all of them. And we appreciate you guys very, very much. So know that. Even though we might not be vocal about it, people like to complain more than they like to compliment. So, hey, if you got a compliment in there for somebody, maybe say that instead of your complaint for a while. That's kind of a good thing. So thank you guys all for being here. If anybody has anything else they want to add, I'd love to hear it. You want to shout anything about anything? This is an open time to do it. Go ahead, Claire. Come on.
So, just a reminder that as tomorrow in the Soapstone, as you don't mind me saying it, we have a pre-recorded show, don't we?
We do. Yeah.
We have 3 different times, obviously, but sometime tomorrow, if you join our Discord, you'll see it on there.
Yeah. It's called the Big Screen Shows. There are 3 of them tomorrow.
Yep.
3, 8, and 11, where this screen gets very, very big. And the magic part about this big screen show, thanks, Claire, for bringing that up. The magic thing about the big screen show is it's actually a recording of one of the live comedians that was here. And if you want to experience the live comedian, well, we have those on the regular too. We have one coming up on 9/11 that I'm particularly excited about. This is a comedian. I keep telling everybody, so forgive me, I'm bragging. But this is a comedian I personally contacted. Now, imagine you're a professional comedian and this cartoon character keeps sending you messages, right? And you're thinking, who is this weirdo? And so he ignored me for 6 months, but I just was relentless. I kept sending him messages. But the good news was, as Aaron kept getting more famous people here at the Soapstone, I could send him posters of these people and go, well, you know what? This guy was here and this person was here. And then suddenly, I guess he just looked at it. He must have seen the screen, the posters, right? So he says to me, I don't have goggles. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. Maybe we can do something about that. And then he ignored me for 3 more months. And so then I would just, carefully keep putting little things in there. And then I thought, you know what? I love watching this comedian. He's going to block me. I better leave him alone. So I just gave him one last shot. I said, just letting you know, we'd really, really love to have you here at the Soapstone. if you're ever interested, let me know and I'll try to, hook you up with the powers that be, because that's not me. And then he said, "Can I do this from home?" And I'm like, "Yes, you can." And then he asked a few more questions that is way above my pay grade. So I connected him with the right people. They worked it all out, and here he's going to be here September 11th, and his name is Gabriel Rutledge. Look him up if you want to go to that show. I know there's still some openings. It's almost full, but you don't have to do anything but get into the Discord and sign up to attend. That's all you got to do. It says right there, and there's several others besides Gabriel. But this is a Wednesday night. A lot of them are on Wednesday night. I mean, what time is that? 5 Eastern? That's not night, but I think it's 5 Eastern, right? Anyway, they're not super late, but if that doesn't work for you because you work, then we have a lot of Saturday shows coming up. Okay, that's all I really have to say. I just wanted to thank you all for being here. Thank you guys very, very much. Appreciate you always. If you want to be on this show, you got something you want to talk about, something you're doing, something somebody else is doing that you want to showcase, some subject you think is important, let me know. This is open for everybody to participate in. I love all the audience interaction, and this is our community, not just my show. It's our community. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful week. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow at the big screen. Thanks. Bye.